Hey everyone, Creepy here. I'm sorry I'm using this mic. It's all I have at the moment. I'm still waiting for the other one to come in. Today we will be covering Josh Sullivan's history video on possible history. I want to skip the first section of the video because it's really just explaining the situation, but I will show the clip of possible history insulting him.
This map comes from the esteemed alternate history channel Muncher Z, and it's from a scenario where Austria doesn't get Anschluss. This obviously results in southern Germany breaking away, all of Catholic Europe uniting in an alliance against Protestant Europe. Yeah, this is a real video that exists.
This would already be bad enough if it weren't for the person who was doing it. If you take a look at Possible History's channel, you'll notice that very few of the videos there are actual serious alternate history scenarios that he's actually created. Instead, you'll find a ton of videos written not by him, but by his viewers.
He claims that scenarios are written by his fans, but actually the ideas may be made by the fans, but he still writes the scenarios.
Or, when he does do something himself, it's some of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. For instance, what if I created history? What if Germany just keeps trying? Or, my personal favorite of this nonsense, what if the Soviets got zombies in World War II?
This is a Halloween special that is clearly just made for fun. Also, what is wrong with videos that are just made for fun? It's not like this video is supposed to be incredibly serious. The other videos are unlikely scenarios, but there's nothing completely insane about them.
Other videos, like one on if the Christmas truce ended World War I, immediately open with a disclaimer saying the video isn't serious, implying that his other videos are?
No, it does not. The newer video is going to be more updated, so it's a possibility that instead of it being completely serious, instead he came up with a new idea to add that disclaimer into the newer video.
And then there are those like, what if everything went perfect for the Central Powers? And what if everything went terrible for the United States, whose entire premises are based on mountains of assumptions and completely overlook why these outcomes didn't happen, detaching it from any real understanding of these events.
As we all know, alternate history never is about making assumptions while having to ignore some aspects of it.
As you all know, I'm not opposed to doing silly scenarios every now and then. But emphasis on that last part. Every now and then. When I do silly scenarios, I only ever do them just as a refresher from my serious stuff. But not this guy. Possible History rarely ever makes any actual serious alternate histories, instead just making nonsense or having other people write for him. And you know what? That might have been fine had he not gone and made a hypocrite of himself by deciding to attack my video, my map, and my scenario as being ridiculous. I was wondering if he'd even been familiar with the basis of that scenario, which was the real-life, short-lived Streza Front Agreement of 1935. It's not something particularly obscure in alternate history circles, or even in general World War II discussions. And this is when I considered if Possible History was really much of a historian at all. History is a bit of a serious subject. It should be entertaining, but there should also be some educational value to it.
So, do you just get to decide what everyone has to do with alternate history? Do you specifically get to decide that? It's not that he personally believes that it should be that way, it's that it has to be that way.
I have received plenty of criticism on some of my older videos that they were too heavy on background history. And though I have cut down on excessive background, there's a reason why I give this much, which is because it's necessary to understand actual history before being able to grasp alternate history. Why on earth would someone shovel out history content that's so light on actual history? Why paint your videos and your channel the colors of history of an educational field, but then provide very little in the way of actual educational content when you make your videos? Short answer: views. Mr. Z made a great video on how mass-produced, low-quality content gets widely shared across YouTube. And judging by how much Possible History brags about his view count and subscriber count, as well as this interaction I found, in which a viewer of his suggested a video, and Possible History outright admits he gets enough views to not care about what videos he makes, he clearly cares more about gaining YouTube clout and profit than the actual subject of history and providing videos that are not just entertaining, but educational. Hence the abnormal growth I mentioned at the beginning of this video.
Also, the screenshots don't seem to actually prove what he thinks they're proving at all. They don't actually seem to point into that direction. The top one there is just him talking about his growth within a year, while the other one is just saying that he gets more views than someone who has more subscribers than him, and that's good because he does not believe that person makes good content. And the third is just him saying that he gets the exact same. And the third is just saying the exact same thing as the second one. The third one is just him saying that he doesn't need to worry about the algorithm because he has a large enough audience to just make whatever content he wants.
Of course, he knows all of this, and this is all secondary to the real reason he and his friends like to go after people like me, which is difference in political ideology. Possible History's bias is readily shown in many of the first people he's followed on Twitter, including Vosh, and his staunch opposition to channels like Mr. Z and What If Altist, enough that he has made multiple video responses to them, 2 of which he's since unlisted on his channel.
It's quite common for people to look back at their older content and not think that is good.
In his Discord server, Possible History has also repeatedly claimed that the success my channel has seen is purely because of help from Mr. Z, a YouTuber who's been a good friend and who was kind enough to showcase some of my work when I was just starting out, with us still doing collaborations every now and then. I am genuinely offended by the accusation that this is the only reason I have seen any success. And once again, it's also extremely hypocritical, coming from a guy who, among his very first followers on Twitter, back when he was almost completely unknown on YouTube, were Alternate History Hub and Emperor Tiger Star, the same 2 channels that now make numerous appearances on Possible History's channel, such as in the quiz show thing that we talked about earlier.
You would probably get more exposure if you were on a larger channel instead of having that larger channel be on your channel.
Who's the one being propped up by larger channels again? But this isn't the first time Alternate History Hub is propped up an alternate history channel who shares his worldview and attacks his opposition.
The worldview he holds will not be established or ever explained.
Remember our old friend Freda, the Marx appreciator?
Oh no, how could he? He follows socialists. Oh no, that's so scary. Yes, him following a socialist is supposed to be a point in itself.
Well, before Possible History came out with his attacks on Z and What If Altist, here's Cody promoting Freda right after his own attack videos came out.
Alternate History Hub is not supporting the attack videos within the screenshot you show. He is supporting a random video about alternate history, so it makes sense why he would support that. Now, do we know if he supported the quote-unquote attack videos? No, we don't. Also, notice how videos made on far-right people are attacked, but you're allowed to make videos on socialists, or people you just don't like?
I guess all it costs to get a shout-out from Cody is to take a snipe at guys he doesn't like. Well, maybe that and having a bit of a bias he happens to like. Whether it's him propping up Possible History or Freda, or his strange relationship with Vosh.
You might be wondering, will his strange relationship with Vosh ever be explained? No. Anyway, I'm going to show the response that Possible History gave to this video, and then that will be it.
I will state my case here. I never intended to cause drama, and hope it ends so we can all move on in the community. I apologize to Josh for not crediting him and under-explaining the scenario. I did not realize he made the scenario, as it was released on Monisar Z's channel. I also did not have the time to explain the full context. We were poking fun a little bit, but we did that to the other maps as well, including some by myself. None was meant. Also, if anyone wants to attack/criticize my content, feel free to. I make plenty of mistakes. In the same vein, I also apologize for any comments on my Discord. They were made callously, thinking they would never be seen by others in the privacy of my own Discord server. My comments regarding Josh's growth being attributed to Monisar Z was out of line, and downplaying the great effort in videos made by Josh. While criticism should always be fine, I do not want to insult other creators, and will make sure I am more sensitive in the future. But the continuation of Josh's video beyond the first point were all wrong, and far outside of the scope that the drama needs to be. He doesn't like my content. That is fine. He absolutely doesn't have to. But me, Monisar Z, and him all make both realistic and unrealistic alternate histories, and that is great. Maybe I lean more towards the unrealistic side recently, but that is my creative choice. There is no reason to bash me for it this hard, especially since the criticism made towards me were not always correct. Josh states the viewers voted videos are somehow videos made by my viewers. This is not the case. I am involved 100% in the creation of the videos from the beginning to the end. All the viewers do is respond to a poll I create on the matter. My videos may be considered junk food due to the low production quality, but that is simply due to my incompetence. I never had any experience making videos and am literally on the job as I go here. Regarding the final post, I am mostly apolitical. I disagree with both extremes and absolutely do not have an agenda while making my videos. I am not part of a large leftist plot to take over alternate history. Regardless of political affiliation, anyone should be free to create alternate history video, and it's up to the community to pick their favorites. I ask for all history channels to leave this behind, and each move on creating our own content as we see fit.
Socialism is when the government does stuff. And it's more socialism the more stuff it does. And if it does a real lot of stuff, it's communism.